Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we are going to understand reflex action with the help of this reflex arc model. So firstly, what is a reflex action? So reflex action is a quick, automatic and involuntary response to a stimulus. Now for example, if we touch a hot object like a object which is placed on a stove or hot water, what do? We don't keep our hand there, we tend to remove our hand back. So that is because of reflex action. Now what do we mean by this reflex arc which we see over here? The pathway followed by the nerve impulse during a reflex action is called a reflex arc. So here there is a pathway which has been followed during the reflex action, so that is called as a reflex arc. Through this model we will understand the entire pathway of a reflex arc. Now coming to the first step, that is receptor, that is the skin. Okay, so receptor, what do we mean by receptor? Receptors are those which receives a signal, right? So this part represents the skin which acts as a receptor. It will receive the stimulus, it is going to take the signals like the change around ourselves like heat, pain. Okay, so that is done by your skin which has the receptors. Then we have the sensory neuron. So these receptors will take the signals and they pass on through the sensory neuron, the yellow coloration which you see, that is the sensory neuron. The stimulus here, the stimulus is converted into a nerve impulse which is carried by the sensory neuron to the spinal cord, right? So the signals are converted into a nerve impulse which is carried to a spinal cord. Now coming to spinal cord. Now what is spinal cord? Why this spinal cord is so important? So inside the spinal cord, the impulse is passed through an interneuron. So inside the spinal cord, the impulse which is generated here will be passed into the interneuron. Here what happens? Here the decision is made quickly without involving the brain. So the reflex action, as we know by the definition, it is a quick action. So here the brain is not involved completely, but rather the spinal cord gives the actions very quickly. So they are not involving the brain during this action. Now next step is motor neuron. What is this orange part which you see over here? It is your motor neuron. What is this motor neuron doing? The signal which is generated here, the response which is generated here in the spinal cord is passed through this motor neuron and then it goes to the muscle where your effector is present. Now effector, so the impulse here reaches to the muscle which is acting as an effector. Now the muscle contracts. What happens during this time? The muscle is contracting and the hand is pulled away. That's how quickly this entire reflex arc is working. Okay, now in the examination it is very important. The reflex arc is very important for class 10. So how can you make it very simple? So firstly, the stimulus is received by the receptor, then they go through the sensory neuron, right, and they go to the spinal cord. From the spinal cord the response is generated, it goes through the motor neuron, and from the motor neuron it goes to the effector and then your response is generated, right. So this is about your reflex action or reflex arc in general. Now why is this reflex action so important? What is the importance of a reflex action? Reflex action is protecting our body by giving a fast response and preventing injury. So if we touch any hot object or if a pain is generated, if we don't act according to, if our spinal cord is not acting according, reflex action is not acting according to it, then what happens is there will be a harm to our body. So to protect our body, this entire system is designed in our body. So what can we conclude through this model which we have understood, the reflex arc? So the model is clearly telling you about the reflex action, how the reflex arc is happening in the body and helping our body to quickly respond and stay safe. This is one of the important topics also for our class 10th. So I hope this is very clear. Thank you.